Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the Better Your Business Show. Here we discuss your most important business challenges and provide you with practical solutions to help you better your business.
That's right. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, mamapreneur, then you're a goal achiever. You have plans, desires, aspirations. What you may not have are experts that can help you help you with step-by-step instructions and walk you take you by the hand to bring your goals into reality.
You know, when we all started out as entrepreneurs and business owners, the one thing that we never received was an instruction manual. No one said, here's the guide, here's how you achieve the vision that you envisioned. And we all have these elaborate dreams. And so that is why we've put the show together, so we can bring you the experts that can take these building blocks that are impeding your growth, break them down into bite-sized pieces so you can walk away with actionable data so you can better your business today.
Yes, because we don't know what we don't know. So whether you are joining us live or watching the replay, make sure that you take your free business assessment at pillar5.com so you can see where those roadblocks are, and then join us live in our virtual studio where we can address your comments and concerns throughout the show.
Yep, today's show is going to, I'm kind of knocked back a little bit. We got a double whammy today. So we actually have Amy Razer from the Better Business Bureau and Patty Farmer, marketing and media titan, that's going to help us take a deep dive into today's topic. What is today's topic, by the way, Miss Natalie?
Yes, two powerful women. I'm very excited to have them with us this morning. So today's topic is who's your community? And we're going to get started this morning with Amy Razer of the BBB, the Better Business Bureau. And I'm really excited to hear about her. We spoke last week and it was interesting. I know that I had this connotation of, as soon as I heard Better Business Bureau, to me, it was like a scary thing, right? It's the people that are coming after your business. You want to know any dirt on the business, you Google the BBB and you find out the dirt on that business. And it is not that by any means. I thought it was something put on by the government. And it's actually really, really amazing. And it's a great tool and resource for people. So we're going to go ahead and bring in Amy Razer this morning. She's a regional director. She has over 20 years experience in the nonprofit sector. So really she has a heart to serve and make a difference and help business owners. So Amy, we are happy to have you here this morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Welcome.
Good morning, Amy. Welcome to the show. We're so happy to see you again.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. So Amy, to start it off, obviously our topic today is, where is your community? And so to us, when we think about where is your community, it's for the entrepreneur who is getting started, who have been started, who just has reluctantly built a community around their business, their service, and themselves. And they really don't know how to do that. And I had personal experience with you and working with you at the BBB, and I saw how that grew and helped nurture my relationships. How does the Better Business Bureau, from your perspective, help someone with their community?
So there are a number of ways that you can plug in with BBB to help grow and build your business and find that community. First of all, do what you do well, and then find others to help you do the things that you don't do well. And so I'm going to use my own business as an example, and that is we're not great at accounting. We're great at the stuff that we do. And so what you want to do is you want to go and find an accountant that you trust, and you can do that at bbb.org. You can search anything, any business, any help that you might need, you can find it there. We also offer business consultations. So if there's a time that you need to just kind of talk through what you're going through and find out what resources are available to you, we can help you with that as well.
Awesome. And go ahead, Tehran.
No, I was going to ask, but I want you to follow up your question. I'm going to ask after you follow up your question, exactly what is the BBB? Because piggybacking off what Natalie was saying earlier, I think a lot of people don't really know what to expect from you or why to expect that from you when you represent BBBs. But I'm going to hold that question. I do want to know what is the BBB. But Carlton, I want you to finish your point so we can roll into that a little bit more.
Well, I was going to segue into another question of, the tools of building a community. So if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm starting out, and obviously one of the things that is coming up on my assessment to better my business, right? It's asking me, have you developed a community around you, right? What are some of the steps that I need to take to do that? Even if it's with the BBB or without the BBB, what are the steps that I need to engage in to start building that community?
Right. I would highly recommend finding people that you look up to and admire, that are business owners, so that you can kind of follow their examples, see what they're great at, and mimic it. Surround yourself with people that make you want to do better. It's a good philosophy in all things in life. Put together your business plan, kind of know your direction, and then start to figure out who you need on your team, because you need a team. If you're a solopreneur, you still need a team. You need your people cheering you on. You need your people that are, giving you good advice, that really have your back and believe in your success.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let me go ahead back to that again now. So. Yeah. Like when I ask somebody who is the BBB, I always get different answers from different people. Everybody swears they know what they're talking about, and no one knows exactly what it is. Let me ask the regional director and the Better Business Bureau, what is the BBB? What is the purpose, intent? Who benefits? What are you guys?
Well, BBB is a standards-based nonprofit organization, and we are passionate about building better business. And so our audience is both consumers and business owners. We are a 501c6 nonprofit, and that designation just means that we're a membership organization. So the members, the businesses that are accredited businesses, when you see that BBB seal in their window or on their website, you know that they're a member of the BBB. Membership is not just paying your dues, it's living our standards. And so you have to adhere to our standards. You have to apply. You have to be checked out. We have to see if you're one of the good guys, because that's what we're all about. Our mission is to be the leader in advancing marketplace trust. Our vision is an ethical marketplace where buyers and sellers trust one another.
Got you. Okay, so like a checkpoint, so to speak. So I didn't know the Better Business Bureau was actually a nonprofit organization. Actually, I found it out recently. So is there a benefit that nonprofit organizations can have by associating themselves with the Better Business Bureau?
Absolutely. We also offer charity accreditation, and so charities can become accredited just like any other business. A charity is a business. It's just a different IRS designation and how you file your taxes. But the thing that's really fantastic about being an accredited charity is that we do all the back work. We do all the checking, making sure we look at board of directors, making sure your finances are in order. We dig deep so that consumers that are donating to your nonprofit know that you're a trustworthy organization.
Better Business Bureau said so. Gotcha. Okay. Anybody else have a question specifically for building community with the Better Business Bureau?
Well, I was going to say, so one of the biggest things really with the BBB is that if you're doing business with someone who's part of the BBB, it's there's a different level of accountability that you have as a business owner, it seems like. And then I love the fact that you guys have done your due diligence on that business, so we can feel comfortable to anybody that we're referring in that organization, right? It's almost like a code of conduct inside the organization, a standard of integrity that comes along with that, which as a consumer would make me feel safe, and as someone who's giving referrals would make me feel safe. None of us are perfect people. We all drop balls sometimes, but I think the biggest thing in business is knowing that you have people that have your back, knowing that you're doing business with people you can trust. And hey, if I give you a referral, I know you're going to do the best job you can with them. It doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect experience, but I can always trust intentions. And you can't always do that in business. So I love the mission of the BBB, because it really sets the standard and lets us feel good about what we're doing. So it's awesome. It's not a scary thing at all, like I thought it was, right?
Not at all. Not at all. Yes, yeah, I mean, we take our standards very, very seriously. If there's ever any point where a business that is a member has any kind of issue, we have a conversation and we say, we need to work through this and figure out what's going wrong and fix it. And then if they are not willing to fix it, we do revoke accreditation. So it is, we take it very seriously. And you do know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you are working with an accredited business, that they are bound to uphold our standards of trust, and that we've done the legwork to figure that out.
Awesome. So of course, I want to dive into the community development component, because business owners are shy, they're afraid, they don't know how to introduce themselves. And I know Patty Farmer is going to bring a ton of insight in that level too. But, what are the things that you see in the networking groups that you create or participate in that business owners are missing? What's the thing that they're missing when they go to these organizations and these networks? How are they missing the mark for building their community? You
have to be there for the other person. That's the bottom line. Networking at its best is that you have to come to the table thinking about what you can do for them. The more you do for them, the more trust you build, the more of a relationship is built, and you become each other's team when that happens. And so when you're going to networking groups, if you're really building your relationships like you should be, you should have a giant team that's there working for you and with you to get you the referrals that you need, to get you the connections that you need to make to build that community even larger.
So when I go to a networking event, I shouldn't be walking in thinking sell, client. Get as many business cards as possible.
That should be the last thing on your mind. You should be thinking about, who can I meet tonight and how can I help them and connect them?
Awesome stuff. And so, go ahead, Tayron.
No, I got it tagged and locked in about the misconceptions of the BBB. Go ahead.
So are there networking events at the BBB that, our audience and business owners should be listening to and possibly, getting involved in their region and their areas with the BBB?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can go to the BBB website. And the cool thing about our website is that it geolocates. So bbb.org, wherever you are, will work. And you can check on what events are going on in your area. Here in Fort Worth, I do a networking group every Wednesday afternoon that's open to any business owners. So check out the BBB Fort Worth Facebook page to find out how to join that, and for other events coming up as well. But you can connect in your community wherever you are.
Awesome.
So, Amy, what's one of the, especially when it comes to building a community? So I have a two-part question. Mm-hmm. One is it really that big of a deal? Just about everybody watching our show is an entrepreneur of some sort, but building a community around what they're doing is not something that's probably at the top of their list, other than getting sales. And building a relationship through the Better Business Bureau probably is not on their top agenda as well. How damaging is that? Or what are one of the misconceptions of what I'm leading to? Most people have about the Better Business Bureau and the services that it can offer entrepreneurs.
Well, I would say for us, the biggest misconception is that we're just the place you go to complain, and then we're going to come in with sirens blaring and, shut people down. And that's not how it works at all. We want to foster that ethical marketplace. And the building your community piece, I mean, you're missing an opportunity to connect with other business owners that share the same values that you do if you're connecting through BBB. If you know a type of business that you want to connect with, say you're in property management and you want to connect with people who do AC repair. I mean, that seems like a logical, connection. You could actually use our website to go and search for people in your area and know that they're an accredited business, and even use that as your, warm, call to say, hey, I see you're BBB accredited, and that means you're somebody I want to work with, because I know that you're a good person, you're a good business, you've been checked out, and we've already got that level of trust built.
It's almost like a Yelp for business, kind of. Well, I mean, Yelp is for business, but it's another way that people can It's like a Yelp. You can go and see those reviews. So it's funny. Colette Portis put, the BBB has a reputation for being the police of business. Is that true? And Natalie put, important to know, accreditation can be revoked, right? So you can be replaced. I hate to say it that way, but if you're not, pulling your little red rag and living up to your part of the deal, you can be replaced. And I think that's important for people to know that, right? This isn't, some club where you go, you pay your dues and everyone's in. No, there's standards that need to be met, right? Or not, your spot can be replaced. But would you say the BBB is the police of business?
No, not at all. We do investigations, and that's one of the most fascinating parts to me of what we do. We can dig deep, we can look at what's going on. And then when we do find information, if what we find is illegal, we pass that on to the authorities. That is, we share what we found, we work with them directly. But if what we find is unethical, we always, of course, work to communicate with the business first. Typically, a business that is acting unethically is not going to respond to us. And so oftentimes we will take that information to the media.
Awesome. So
that's pretty intense.
Yeah, that is pretty intense. So when I think about it, again, I'm walking to a networking event and I'm learning more. And I know I just sound like I'm a broken record here, and I just keep going back to community. And I think because entrepreneurs have this tendency, and I was guilty of this too, is before I was ready to go to a networking event, I would perfect my pitch, right? What is going to be the 30-second thing that I say that's going to convince somebody to want to meet me for a demo or a product walkthrough or something, right? And I learned differently, and I won't spoil the beans because I know Patty's going to pour juice all over that. But I would do that, and I would stuff my pocket full of business cards. Is that the way that business owners need to be thinking, or they need to really restructure the idea of networking in their head, and not so much networking? Again, it's not the networking component. We're really talking about community, right? Community is based off of a relationship. How important is that relationship?
Relationships are everything. If we aren't taking care of our relationships and nurturing the people that are helping us, nurturing our customer relationships. Like if you make that one sale and you move on, that's not sustainable. You're gonna burn through people. You need to have those relationships that are gonna continue, that are gonna grow, that are gonna deepen, and that you are going to be able to call upon. I mean, a happy customer, best thing you can have, because they're going to give you referrals. They're going to be singing your praises, and that is exactly what you want and need. Walking into that networking room ready to speak, I would say is backwards. You need to walk into that networking room ready to listen.
Nice. Good. Because I know that's very important for business owners to understand as they go through this process. So now that I'm at the networking event and I'm starting to better understand community, first I have to start understanding who am I building the community around, right? And so that gets very technical. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, Amy, and get more insight on how to be better at building a community, how does the BBB improve my business and help me with networking and everything associated with that, what do you recommend for them?
Go to the BBB Fort Worth Facebook page. You can book an appointment with me there, or just go to bbb.org and connect in your community.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's not it for Amy. We're going to bring Amy back here shortly to answer any questions that anyone has. And we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with market, media, and money expert Patty Farmer, who's going to dive into the conversation as well about community development and how it will impact your business. Amy, stay with us, and we'll bring you right back.
Will do.
Awesome.
Small businesses are America. For more than 100 years, BBB has stood alongside small businesses. While many things have changed, BBB's steadfast dedication to businesses has not. BBB's consultative business support helps build better business through enhanced online reputation, healthy growth, and ready-to-buy customers. Build better with BBB today.
A wise man once asked, what if starting a business was like jumping out of a plane? And like 76% of businesses, what if 76% of parachutes failed before you reached the destination? What about those of you who have already jumped? Well, you may still have time to check your business. Pillar5.com, where businesses get it right.
All right, and we are back. We just had some time with Amy Razer, Regional Director of the Better Business Bureau, over 20 years experience. And, I think about really a common thing among today's show, and really all of our shows in general, has been that everybody really has a heart to serve and contribute and make a difference. And success leaves clues, right? So especially if you're just starting off as an entrepreneur, sometimes there's this grind of, I need to meet people. Carlton, you said it right. I need to have my pitch ready. I'm going to go and pitch all these people. And it's really not about that. It's about serving and making a difference. So when you put those things first, everything else comes, right? So we have Patty Farmer coming in. She's an award-winning marketing and media strategist, international speaker, best-selling author, awesome powerhouse of a woman. Yes, right. Excited to hear from her this morning. So Patty, welcome to the show. We are thrilled to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Titan. I was so impressed by the information that we were getting from you over our coffee, our virtual coffee. I was like, man, everybody must get this information from you. Let me just ask you off the beginning. When it comes to network, well, actually, the first one that kind of blew me back, Natalie actually asked this question to you. Is there a difference in media and marketing? If it is a difference, what is the big deal in the difference as far as putting in the work for you?
Well, actually, the biggest difference to me is that you do all of this with your marketing, but media is where you leverage everything you've done before, during, and after you do the marketing. So media is something you should be doing all the time, and it doesn't just mean social media, right? So media is what you should be doing all the time while you're doing your marketing, because a lot of marketing is what your message is. It's a lot of different things, but media is where you actually get it out to the masses and where you can amplify your message.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm doing marketing on social media, is that taking care of both of them in one shot, or do I still need to pay them both different attention?
You need to pay attention to both of them. And there's a lot of different ways, actually. So it's not just social and then regular media. It encompasses a lot of things. I mean, media could be being on podcasts, being on live radio, writing for magazines, writing articles. It's not just social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Patty, of course, we want to dive into the nuggets that you have brought and prepared for us. I'm super excited to hear this context. So we ended with Amy, and we were talking about the whole process, the how, right? The audience wants to know the nuggets, the how to. I'm going to a networking event. I'm stuffing my pockets full of business cards. I'm working on my pitch in the mirror. I'm trying to get as many sales as I can when I walk up here. Right or wrong? Am I doing this right?
You are doing it so wrong.
Oh my God.
So wrong.
So wrong. Because really, honestly, just think of it right now. So let's just all imagine, right, that every one of us that's listening is thinking to themselves, oh, I hate going to events and have people sell me, right? We all don't like it. But yet, when we're all getting ready to go to the event, while we're getting ready, all we're thinking about is what's our pitch going to be? What are the things we want to talk to everybody else about? And how are we going to sell everybody else? So if everybody wants to sell and nobody wants to be sold to, how could that ever be effective? So you need to flip that and stop selling and start serving.
Powerful. So how would I serve? How do I walk in and serve if my true objective, right? Mysterious. Woo. My true objective is to get a sale, Patty. Oh my gosh. Or am I just in the wrong mindset? Do I just need to blank my mindset and think about my purpose? What do I do here?
Well, first, you do need to shift that mindset. So that's what I am going to say, because the reality is anybody can spot someone who is talking to them and asking them questions. And the reality is they're just waiting for you to pause so they can talk. We can spot that a mile away. We know when somebody's really listening and somebody really cares. So don't be that person. That's the first thing I'm going to say. But know why you're there. There's always important. Everybody wants to sell, right? So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with sales. Right? As long as you are doing it properly and you're waiting for somebody to be open to that, right? You know, I mean, you want somebody to be like, oh, wow, and don't go talk to her because she's going to try to sell you, you know, within 5 minutes. We've all had people come up and shove business cards in our face and all that kind of stuff. Nobody wants that. And you don't look very professional either. You look actually very desperate. So I think that if you shift your mindset and you go with service first. So I always like to say, lead with contribution and compensation will follow. That's really, really important. And then when you're showing up for wherever you're going to network, right? It's always about, I always like to think of it as next working, what happens next, right? Because it's not what happens there, it's what happens after. So when you're thinking about it, thinking about networking is like this giant ATM, right? And if you want to really think of it as if you're building relationships right now are the currency in today's business environment. So the question you should be asking yourself is, are you making more deposits or trying to make too many withdrawals? Because that's how you're going to overdraw yourself.
Wow. Powerful. That's good stuff.
You remind me of something my brother told me a few years ago. He said that somebody told him it's not who you know, it's who knows you and who's happy that they know you is what makes all the difference when you're networking with people. So we try to get all these business cards of people in our Rolodex. Well, who's happy to bring your name up when your name comes up? Because life is pretty much an interview. At all times, you're interviewing people to see who they are based on what you think you know about people. They're doing the same thing with you from a social perspective. So yeah, it's like if you just change your mind frame to say, I want to leave this scenario and that person that I just met should have more value than they had before they met me, then let the chips fall as they may, if you just choose to be in that lane, if you will.
Absolutely. And here's where I think is key. What is key is know why you're going to that event in the first place, right? And know, is your target buyer, not your target market, but your target buyer. And for those that don't know the difference between the two, your target market is someone who has a problem that you have a solution to. That's your target market. And that's what in the marketing and media business. And so for me, it's about who's your target buyer, which is somebody who has a problem, you have the solution, but they're actively looking for that solution, which makes it a whole lot easier. So if you go to every event and what you're looking for is to have conversations with people who are your target buyer, and you need to be able to do that. And how you do it is by asking the right questions. If you ask the right questions, you get better answers, and then you're going to know what it is that you should do. Because you could be in a room of 100 people, and if you just talk to 5 people, but they're the right 5 people, that's all that matters. You don't need to work a room. You just need to find your target buyers.
Patty, you said something that just kind of emotionally triggered me. So you said, I'm building a community, be in a room with my buyers. Is that the only community I need to build around my business? Just the ones that are buyers? Or is there other communities I also need to build around?
I believe that, there's always many, but really there's 3.
Okay.
The first one is really that you want to build a community of raving fans who are your ideal buyers. So that's the first one. And that's what everybody's looking for, really, even if they may be baby stepping with target market, but that's what they're looking for. The second community that you really want to build is of your ideal strategic partners, which are people who serve your target buyers, but in a completely different way than you do, because those are the people that your ideal buyers either need before you or after you, because every problem that's solved creates another problem, right? You get all your marketing right, and now you might need a copywriter. Now you might need a website person, right? So there's before and after, and I call that upstream and downstream. So you really want to build a community of them as well, because that's how you're going to pass referrals back and forth. And then the third one that I think that people don't really think about, and it's kind of 2 parts. It's really of your peers. And for that, you want your peers of people who do what you do, but they do it a little bit differently than you. Maybe they have a little bit of a different expertise than you. I mean, marketing is a huge umbrella, right? And not everybody knows every single thing or specializes in every single thing in marketing. Like for me, it's about media, right? And leveraging and how to monetize. Those are my specialties. But there's a lot of people who are graphic designers and they say they're in marketing, and they kind of are, right? So you want to make sure that you're also building in a community of people who are in the same industry as you, but in a different way, because you will also be able to collaborate with them and you will learn from each other too. Getting a different perspective. This is kind of goes back to the whole, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. And if you are, you're in the wrong room, right? So this is a great room and a community to be in. So if you can be in a room, so to speak, with the people who you serve, with the people who also serve them in a different way, and the people who do what you do, that can give you a different perspective on that and that you can collaborate with, that's the real deal right there.
Wow, Patty, that's amazing. So that's 3 different rooms that I need to build around my community. That's 3 different communities, right?
Right.
And they all really lead up to my true community. So let me see if I got this right. So I need to build a community around the business of buyers, those who need what we want to provide, the solution to their problem. Then we want to be with those who also serve them, as you say, upstream and downstream, before me and after me, right? Mm-hmm. And you gave some really clear examples of that with other expertise, right? Your media marketing, they need an accountant, they need an attorney, they need whatever that follows that. And then you also want to be in a room. I want to make sure I get clarity. You also want to be in a room with people who do exactly what you do. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Wow. So that really strips away the mindset of walking in and trying to sell. You're really building relationships. Like you said, that's the currency. Is that right?
I know. So absolutely. And that's the hardest one, because you have to have an abundance mindset for that third group. But when you think about it, thinking about those 3 groups, and if you went to this event, so now again, we're back in that room with 100 people again, as an example, and there are some of all of that group in there, right? Think about that, because I have to tell you, when I go to those, I always reach out to the people that I can tell that I know ahead of time that are going to be there. And I will usually, for me, because I always come from service, I'll reach out to them before and I say, hey, I see that we're both going to be at this event. Is there something specific you're working on? You have a launch coming up? Is there a project you're working on? I want to know what it is that they're there, because that's probably why they're there. And then when I'm going around talking to people, when I hear people or I'm asking questions, because remember, it's always about the questions, I love to be able to say, oh, wait, hold on one second. I know I'm in marketing, but such and such is in marketing too, and she specializes in this. Let me, introduce you guys and hook you up. I got to tell you, if you have that buddy system going on with 2 or 3 people when you're there, guess what? Nothing looks better than when people in your own industry or similar to you tell people that they need to connect with you. That's like credibility right there.
Right.
Powerful. So I know we were on coffee, and so I'm just going to jump, Patty. I won't shut up unless you guys just stick a sock in my mouth. But you really dove deep into that networking aspect and building the relationship. There were some questions that you shared that really had me unraveled. And I got to say to everyone's listening, I began using that over the weekend. Truly, heartfelt, using that process. And it just felt different. Forget the results of it. It felt amazing to do what I love, which is help small businesses. And so would you mind sharing some of that with the audience so that they can hear what are the steps that I should take? What are the questions I should be asking? Or what does my introduction look like when I meet someone? That's really where I'm going.
Absolutely. So I love that. So I have a system where there are 5 questions, and I can do it in 7 minutes or less. And it'll tell me every single thing I need to know about what the next step should be, right? Again, remember, we're looking for those 5 people. So if you're going to be at an event, you're going to be there for a few hours. It should be super easy for you to find 5 people if it takes less than 7 minutes, right? If you ask the right questions. So the first question I always like to ask when I'm talking to somebody, Well, let me backtrack and say, here's the question I never ask. So, so I'm going to tell you, it's always nice to know what not to do as well, right? So to me, I always like to tell everybody, the sooner you can stop asking the question, what do you do? The better off you're going to be. Because as soon as you ask somebody what they do, they're going to start telling you, and then they're going to go right into sales, and then you're kind of down this rabbit hole. So try to stop saying that. Let me give you an alternative. So for me, one of the questions I like to ask instead of what do you do is who do you serve? Because now it's not about them at all. Now it's about the people that they serve. But here's why you want to ask that question. Because only one of three things can happen. And so say, for example, you ask that question and they kind of got that, deer in the headlights look, right? That kind of tells you something right there, right? They don't even know who they serve, right? So they're right there. I know everything I need to know. The second thing is when I ask them who they serve and they start telling me, right? All of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, wow, I serve them too, or at least some of them. And all of a sudden this is a whole new conversation about, oh, maybe there's something that we can do together. Or third, they may tell you who they serve and you don't serve any of them. And there's really not anything there, but because we're from a service mindset, this is an opportunity for you to be listening and thinking about your network. Is there somebody in my network who's been asking to meet that person? Is this an opportunity for me to serve my network, right? Whether it is an introduction or a referral. So for me right there, that's the first question. Who do you serve? The second question I ask, it's a little bit longer question. And usually it goes like this, whoever it is. So we're going to say I'm speaking to Natalie right now. So I say, so Natalie, I know a lot of people. If I was going to tell them about you, what would you want me to tell them? Now, the reason you're going to ask this question is because as soon as I told Natalie that I knew lots of people and I wanted to tell them about her, now she's not going to tell me fluff. Now we're going to get down to what is the value that she brings to the marketplace, right? Now we're going to get to the good stuff. So if I know who she serves and I know the value she brings to the marketplace, I know a lot. And that was really about 4 of the 7 minutes. So that's important. The third question I ask is, what is your phrase that pays? And really what this question really is, and I say it like that because I know they're really not going to know. And I want them to pause right there and think about the value that I've already given them. And really what I say is what that means is how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else who does what you do? And a lot of times they won't have the answer. And I'm going to say that before you start going out there and doing this, make sure you have your answers down first, because nobody's ever asked them that before, probably. They're always saying, what do you do? And so they're not going to know how to answer. And they're probably going to say, oh, you go first. So this is your opportunity to shine, right? So I'll always say to them, would you like me to give you an example? And I have to tell you, 99% of the time they say yes, right? And so here's the example that I give. And I'll just give a quick example. I always like to say, one time I spoke to a realtor, and who doesn't know one realtor or 10, right? And this realtor said, Patty, everybody knows realtors, I don't know what my differentiator is. I said, well, let's talk about it. And what she told me in that conversation is that before she was a realtor, she worked for a builder. And when she worked for that builder, she worked in the negotiation department. Now, if you were going to hire a realtor, wouldn't you want to hire a realtor who knew everything that they could negotiate on and everything they couldn't? So the question here is, we all do have a differentiator. I like to tell people all the time, you're not trying to reinvent ice cream. You're just making your own flavor, right? Just what is your flavor? So now think about it. So 3 questions. Who do you serve? Right now I know who they serve. I know the value they bring to the marketplace, and I know what makes them different than everybody else who does what they do. Now that's a lot of information. Right. And then here's where I start serving. I got that information. They started answering those questions for me. They're loving that I'm really asking them questions. They're thinking about that. And so when I say to them after that, I say, so who could I introduce you to this week that would be a game changer in your business? That's what I want to know, because I was listening to them. And as I was listening to the answers to their questions, I was kind of going through the Rolodex of my network in my mind, thinking about who could I introduce them. And maybe they don't even know. I know usually when this happens, I actually already know people they haven't even asked before that I know would be a good introduction for them. And I'll say, well, what about them? Or what about this? Or what about that? And they're like, oh, yeah, that would be great too. Right. So I do that. And then lastly, how I wrap it before I move on, how I wrap it, this is usually the point where you're going to, usually exchange business cards. So I have this technique. This is my signature technique. It's also my call to action. So picture a business card in your mind right now, your business card. When you're picturing it, each business card has 4 corners. So for me, yours may be different than mine. So for me, on my business card, the top right corner is Twitter, because that's where I spend all my time, is Twitter. The bottom is LinkedIn. The bottom left corner is Instagram. And the top left corner is Pinterest. Yours may be different. Okay, yours may be TikTok or whatever it is, right? So here's what I say. So the last thing I say is, so Carlton, what's your favorite social media platform? Where do you actively hang out? And then you would is my call to action is that after they answer, when they walk away, I fold their business card on the corner that they just told me is where they hang out. So now picture when you're leaving this event that has 100 people and you have all these business cards. What if the only thing you had to do with your call to action is look at the business card and look at the corner that was bent and know that you just need to connect with them on the one place that they just told you they hang out. You know the value they bring to the marketplace. You know what differentiates them. You know who they serve, and you know who they want you to introduce them to. And you only have to go to one place to connect with them. Not every single social media platform, just one. You can do all of that in 7 minutes.
Wow. Just blown away. I hope the audience took notes on that.
Yes.
I really do. And if you missed it, rewind, play it back, write down the notes, and start implementing that today in your community development process. That's awesome, Patty. Thank you so much. That was.
And Carson, thank you. One of the things that I thought was interesting when I was listening to Amy and you were asking her about building that community, right? And who that community should be. And we just talked about that. But again, it all goes back to what I said in the beginning is if you can define who your target buyers are, if you know who your strategic partners are, upline and upstream and downstream, and you know who else does what you do, right, that is in your community, you have the community that you need. And I always like to say you should be, adding or deleting as necessary, right? But you don't really need to have 5,000 people. You just really need to have 12. Right. I always call that the table of 12. I have this thing that I do that's called the table of 12. And I know we didn't talk about this on the coffee chat, but I thought about it after and said, I should have shared that with them. Here's the table of 12. So picture you're going to have this ultimate, amazing dinner party. You get to invite whoever you want. It could be Oprah, it could be Mark Cuban, whoever you want. Who would be the perfect business table of 12 that you get to have? So you should actually draw that out. Here's this table of 12. Put 12 names. Now, let's get real. You probably can invite Oprah to dinner. Maybe not even Mark Cuban, right? But then what you're going to do is I know, right? From that, though, you're going to draw a line and you're going to say, what are the characteristics of Oprah or Mark Cuban or whoever your people were, of why you would want them at that table? What's the reason? And once you get the reason down, because they're great at digital marketing, they're great at this, whatever the case may be, then you should draw the next line. And the next line is, who else do you know in your network or you need to go cultivate a relationship with that has those same characteristics? You may not be able to get Oprah or Mark Cuban, but your table of 12 could look really, really good if you were intentional. So now think about that same event. I'm going to tie it back to that same event. So now what if you could ask questions to determine if the people in the room had the characteristics for your table of 12? That's your personal advisory board you're building for yourself. You only need 12.
Wow.
Got an idea. Thank you.
Absolutely. Wow.
Table of 12.
Wow, Patty, I have to do this because I'm one of those individuals that when I watch podcast or shows, I'm always wondering, where's the proof, right? I always say that in my head. Okay, that proof sounds good, but where's the proof, right? Missouri, show me state, right? So my question that I want to share is so we can get a little background on Patty for those of them who don't know you. You came from Vegas to Texas. You landed with how many followers? How many people?
0.
Wow. And so you did this very same process to get where you are today. Is that correct?
I absolutely did. When I got to Dallas on a day that it was snowing and I was sitting there kind of sort of having a pity party for a few minutes, thinking, oh my gosh, here I am. I spent 33 years in Las Vegas building my business, and now I'm in Dallas and I don't know anyone. I kind of was like, wow. But then I realized something. Whether we realize it or not, we're not B2B. We're not B2C. We're P2P. We're in the people business. So I got up, I walked to my refrigerator, and I wrote 100,000 on my refrigerator on a Post-it note. And when my husband came home, he said, what's this? And I said, I realized that this is an opportunity. I should be excited that I'm in the Dallas Metroplex here, right? How many millions of people? And so I made a goal, and I told myself that I was going to be very, very intentional, and that I was going to meet people, and I was going to make $100,000. I was going to do it in a year because they were going to be the right people, and I was going to create this criteria for me. I did it in 9 months, and that was really like the beginning of really my life here in Dallas.
9 months.
Well, I got to say, we're happy to have you in Texas. We're happy to have you in the DFW area. I'm sure Amy feels the same way. But for those of you who are watching this and heard that layout of how to build your community, what questions to ask, your table of 12 development, and then understand that Patty went through this. She doesn't just create it out of thin air. She had a problem, and she created a solution for it, and she did it. So we just need to be the doers, right? I like to say that we need to be the doers. We need to be the ones that go out and implement it. Don't just talk about it, be about it, and go do it. You can sit here and take notes all day, but if you don't take action, Patty, what happens if they don't take action?
Nothing, because there's a big gap in between an idea and a result, and action is what's in between there, right? So you have to take action in order to achieve your dreams, for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, we want to make sure we bring Amy back because there may be questions, and we want both of you to come back with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Patty Farmer, founder and CEO of Marketing, Media, and Money. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have Amy with us along with Patty. And please put your comments and your questions up, and so we can start answering your questions, and we're going to have these two lovely women come back and answer these questions for you. Here we go. Okay, we are back. Welcome back to the Better Your Business Show. Go ahead, Natalie, take over.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I have a question for both you ladies that I've been really wondering about. So let's say I'm newer to the networking scene. I'm newer to becoming an entrepreneur. We've all sat down with someone, and you're right, they throw up every detail of everything you don't want to know about their product, right? My question would be, I found that, a lot of times we don't get the sale because we just don't ask for it, right? Mm-hmm. So what feedback or what advice would you give somebody who's newer in entrepreneurship, and they think in their mind they're doing this great job and connecting with you because they're throwing up all over you, and in our mind we're thinking, oh boy, I'm not sure that I want to spend another 30 minutes with this person, right? What feedback can you give to help shift that mindset? I mean, I think part of it is a confidence challenge, maybe, right, to ask for it, but any feedback or tips you can give to help people feel more confident asking for the sale?
Amy?
I'm going to say ask for things other than the sale first. Ask for a phone call, ask for an introduction, bring them in, make them part of your circle and build that trust where you feel like that you can ask them something, they can ask you something, have an exchange of some kind first before you ask for the sale.
That's great feedback.
Would you say that?
I would like to say that, givers gain. So I would say give first. Something, we should all have our little toolbox full of resources that we have. That's actually why I created my magazine, to be a resource. But once you have a resource, it's always nice to give somebody something first, because now you get to go back. It's kind of like what they say, like when you're married, this may be what your husband said, but this is actually what you heard, right? So this is an opportunity for you to repeat back to them so they know, you know what, I was listening to what you said, and based on what you said, this would really be a great resource for you. I would love to be able to, send you that resource, right? And, I know you gave me your business card. I actually always follow the CAN spam law, and I never add you to my email list without your permission. So do I have your permission to send it to you, or whatever else that you can give to them? But I always say give first so that they know, and if that they know you were listening to them, that's even better.
Say that last part again.
And if you can tie it back to something they said, so they know you were listening to them.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, and intentional listening. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's something I took away from what both you guys said about one of the Glenn and Natalie actually spoke on it too. When you're being of service, when you're thinking about the other person versus the sale, you help the sale come more organically if you could just stop thinking about your pocket and think about the people involved in that transaction, the whole process, not just the part where you get the money. What's the solution? Whose solution is it? What problem are they having? Talk their language. It just becomes a whole different environment. The money and capitalism and all that is still attached to it. It's just not only what you do, it's how you do what you do. I really appreciate that perspective you guys bring in, especially from the Better Business Bureau perspective, especially from marketing and a media strategist perspective. It's like there's a strategy to what you do, not just doing it, but do it with intent and with the right intention. So it's because it's going to bleed through your efforts anyway. I like that a lot.
I love that. And the thing that I think people really need to realize is, are you transactional or relationship based, right? And if you're relationship based, the reality really is, for me, if somebody does the right introduction for me, it is hands down, I would take it every day of the week over somebody like just one transaction, right? Because if somebody does the right introduction for you that builds a relationship, it's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Right. Yep, I agrees with you, young lady.
That's powerful.
I do have to say that something I'm grabbing from me, something that you said about the end user, and I have to find a balance with. I know I've been over the years. I recall as we were building Pillar 5, the software for business diagnostic and business development, I was very much, if you're not in my target audience, I could care less what you think. I shouldn't even be talking to you because your opinion is irrelevant to me. If you're not an entrepreneur, I'm not really paying too much attention to your opinions about but see, there's a balance in there. And I'm very binary. It's like, okay, if you're my target audience, then I'll pay you attention. If you're not my target audience, I'm not gonna pay you any attention, because everybody has an opinion, whether they have any, skin in the game, if you will, or not. Just because it's a topic to talk about, they'll bring up the topic.
But do they serve those people, though? And that is the name of the game, because sometimes the ask really could be something so simple. I mean, you could be at an event, you could say, oh, so what brought you here? And you want to know, is a really good question too, is sometimes asking someone, like if you're in a place, I love to ask people, so where else do you network that you get the best results? Because if they're networking here, we all network more than one place, right? So I don't want to just know where else do you network. I want to know, where else do you network that you're getting the best return? Now, if I can walk and know somewhere else that I can go, that somebody says it's not just someplace they go, but it's someplace that they go and they get results. I mean, really, that's better use of your time, right? So you do want to be careful. We all are in sales, right? We're selling ourselves all the time, right? And I always like to say, really, when you're thinking about that, I know I always love talking about that table, but there's also a table of 4. And the table of 4 is, here you have a table. Mine sits on the beach, right, on this table. And there's 4 chairs. And I have a criteria. And one of mine, for example, is speaking. I'm a speaker. One of them is my products and one is my services. But one chair is really about philanthropy, things that feed my soul. I never think about making money on those. The thing is, if you're having a conversation or what it is about is revenue generating, or it's the time of day where you should be doing revenue generating activities, that's what you should be doing. When you're doing something that feeds your soul, don't even worry about making money.
Right,
You're
right.
doing things to feed your soul.
Wow. Balance, balance, balance. Good gracious of life, as my grandfather would say. Good gracious of life. Yeah. You find that perfect balance and you got it. Because you can go on either end and just OD. I mean, you could literally go on if it's not making me money, I don't have nothing to do with it. Or this is messing with my passion. I don't want to taint it with money. But I guess having that perfect balance in anything is how you can extract the best out of it. Yeah.
And I would actually even go so far as to say that if at the end of the week or the end of the month or however you do your payroll, right? If you're not seeing the results financially that you want, and you feel like you're putting out this effort, I will tell you, when I work with my clients, almost 90% of the time, at least, when that happens, take your eyes off your business and go serve someone else. And it's amazing how all of a sudden that problem will be fixed.
Interesting. Very interesting, young lady.
That was great.
Got a lot to download.
Awesome. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being with us here this morning and just giving us great feedback and sharing your wisdom with us. I mean, so many great takeaways. I know I had a couple that just really I feel like even already are going to make a huge difference in my business. We're very grateful for you. Thank you for serving. Thank you for the difference that you're making in the community. And we look forward to a continued relationship with you. So thank you for joining us on the Better Your Business show this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's amazing. I have to step out of the screen for just a moment so I can have those two wonderful ladies just take over the screen. I was just in the way. I was just another ball head in the way. I just really wanted to hear their insights. And there was just tons and tons of information that came out on that last part from Patty and both Amy. And I just think, number one, we have to bring them back. So I hope they're sitting back there going, yes, you got it. We'll come back. But there is so much that they shared that I would love to just really spend an hour just with each one of them and just dive deep into how, because there's another level with the Better Business Bureau. Once you start building that relationship, like Patty was saying, there's a relationship that can be made. And fortunately, we have that relationship with Amy Razer, the Better Business Bureau. But we can teach people how to have that very same relationship so that they can impact their ability to serve, as well as with Patty, teaching people how to and bringing that information on how to serve. I just thought that was amazing. That's changed my whole trajectory over the weekend. I think I commented or made a comment to 2 or 3 people in my network about service and how I can assist them. And the next thing I knew, I had 5 or 6 people looking at my profile, trying to figure out who I was because of the way I led into that conversation. So it was amazing to have that experience. That was super. So I want to ask, obviously, what was your takeaway from this show, Tehran?
Well, from Amy, well, the takeaway I got from Amy specifically is that everybody, no matter where they're watching the show, needs to go to bbb.org because it facilitates you locally, and they're actually a organization that's there to help you, structure your business too, but really just to build out your community. And it's right there. And if there's anything close to what Amy is and any of the other ones, then it's really in your best interest. It's damaging not to reach out to resources that's there. And from Patty, I really got the servicing your client, if you will, servicing, and not even just your client, your potential client, the service and mind frame when you go into networking events. If you're thinking about them more, then the whole situation just turns out to be something different. Still ends up in your pocket, but at least you can. I think you got to really care before you can really act like you care. I think that's something I got from her. So It's a great lane to get into. That's what I got from both of them, myself.
Yeah, you have to care about people. If
What
not,
was your takeaway, Natalie?
what's the whole point? That's what I always wonder. What's the whole point of all this if it's not about people, if it's not about each other, if it's not about contributing, make a difference, help people grow, right? We can't take stuff with us when we leave. So what is the whole point of all of this if we're not leaving the world a better place and making the world a better place? So 2 big takeaways that I had were what makes you different in your industry. And I know over my years of networking, the number one answer I always hear is customer service. And so it was great to get Patty's feedback on what does that look like with her real estate example. I had a big, huge aha moment there. And then also the other one too is just that entrepreneurs realize that we have such amazing support systems. I mean, if you look at what Amy's doing with the BBB, she's doing it because she loves entrepreneurship. Her and her husband have multiple business. They love to help people grow, have relationship, be successful, create the American dream. And so those were two of my biggest takeaways from today.
Awesome. And my personal takeaway on this, and I know we got to wrap up because time is of the essence. So I just wanted to, number one, thank both of you all for always coming out and being on the show and making this show possible. I mean, we're a team and we make this happen, and being able to have, these experts join us every week to help small businesses better their business. That's huge for me. I love it. That's why Tehran and I started Pillar 5 6 years ago. And so my takeaway was the table of 12 and the table of 4. Now, I'm not going to go back and repeat what they said because it was amazing, right? Go back, rewind it, watch it, listen, take your notes, and follow that juncture. And like Amy said, they're more than just the police of business. If that's what you understand about the BBB, you really need to go contact your BBB and start finding out how they can improve your network and how they can get to your buyers. And all of the network groups that are the facets, as Patty were talking about, can be connected inside of the BBB. So be sure you go and make those connections. And as always, thank you for joining us on the Better Your Business Show. If you have not taken your business assessment, please go to Pillar 5, do the one-day trial. It's absolutely free. Find out where your business is, because that's where most businesses fail at. They don't know where they are, so they can't know where they're going. Take your assessment at pillar5.com. Join us every Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we always look forward to bringing you good content to help you better your business. Thank you all. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.